Hello, this is Wmpyr here to talk about Professor Bram Frank's LLC knives. So the thing about the LLC knives is that you can see right here he has a bunch of different models. Okay, the red is the training knife and the blue is the working model. It's designed for self-defense, but it doesn't have an edge, but it does have teeth on the blade. Here we go. You can see a fixed blade on the very top, and then the second one from the top is from a different company, Mantis Knives. But yeah, let's come back down to this. So the thing about his folding knives is that in the closed position, it could be used as an impact tool for self-defense, and that is huge to me. Okay. Some people get that, and some people don't understand it. Here's another visual to help explain. So his folding knives are two tools in one, basically. It's a palm stick on steroids, and it's also a knife. Okay? So in the closed position, it is a palm stick on steroids. Now this makes total sense to me because back in the day, around 2006, I was doing the same thing with my folding knife. I was using it in the closed position. That just made sense to me. And the knife that I was using at the time, 2006, when I developed the K4S system for self-defense, the knife that I was using, my main knife at the time, was a knife from Walmart. And it was the cheapest folding knife from Walmart. So it was about $1 at that time. Today, that same knife is about like $3 from Ozark Trail, which I believe is a company under Walmart, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I was using that particular knife in the closed position. And you could see it on my K4S logo where I'm making a fist and I'm holding the knife, the folding knife, closed as a self-defense impact tool, as a palm stick. You know, that was my logo. That's how much that meant to me. But yeah, you might be going, well, where did you get that idea from to use the knife in the closed position? Honestly, it comes from my training because, you know, coming from a Filipino martial arts background, the stick that we use, whether you call it the Kali stick or the Escrima stick, that stick is what I would call long. I'm sure that there's longer, but there's mainly, just using logic, there's a long, medium, and short. Okay, this is just simple logic. And so the medium is what I call the bridge weapon, and the short was supposed to represent the knife, the short stick. So to me, whether the knife was open or closed, I would consider it the short stick. And so it just made sense to use the knife in the closed position just like the short stick. So it just comes from my training. It is a logical part of my training. And this, to me, is no coincidence that Professor Bram Frank is also a Filipino martial arts guy. So he is a FMA, Filipino Martial Arts Instructor of Instructors. So I think that's no coincidence, you know, that he's also teaching to use the knife in the closed position, the folding knife, closed, as an impact tool. So, you know, we come from the same training, actually same lineage. So we're both doing the same thing. It makes sense to me. The thing is, his knife right here is not just any folding knife closed. His is specifically designed to be used closed. So that's why I call it a palm stick on steroids. Now, the difference, some people may say, well, you could use any folding knife closed. So I don't really see the difference there. You know, yes, that's specifically designed for it, whatever that means. But I could use my folding knife. As long as it's big enough, you could just about use any folding knife in the closed position as a palm stick. True, absolutely true. But the difference I would say is, like, for example, let's say you're just like a small screwdriver, okay, that you could carry. A small screwdriver versus a screwdriver that was meant to be the best screwdriver in the world. So that screwdriver, you're going to see that maybe the tip is magnetic so that it holds onto the screw better. The handle part is extra thick so that when you turn it, you get more leverage. So when you incorporate little things like that, it's going to make it a better screwdriver. Okay, so for me personally, when you specifically design something for the purpose, in this case, in the closed position, this is specifically designed to be an impact tool. I feel like it's going to do its job better, just like the screwdriver that was designed better, more thought put in. It's going to be better than the normal screwdriver or just a normal folding knife closed and used as an improvised impact weapon, right? I feel like there's going to be a difference. Now, that's just, my personal opinion. For somebody else, they might go, well, that's not enough for me, and we don't have to agree. You're entitled to your opinion. So anyway, the other part is people don't understand. They're like, okay, I'm carrying a knife for self-defense. And in a self-defense situation, I want a knife. I don't want an impact tool. If I wanted an impact tool, then I'll be carrying an impact tool. I'm carrying a knife, so I want a knife. So it doesn't make sense why this knife is also an impact tool, right? For me, the way that I see it is, for self-defense, I'm going to use this thing closed. When this is in its knife form, when it's transformed into the knife, I'm going to use that for EDC. So that's not for self-defense. Now, I could, but I don't want to. And you go, well, then why don't you just carry an impact tool? Well, because most of my life is not geared around self-defense. Most of my life, when I'm walking around town and stuff, I don't live in such a dangerous place anymore. So I don't need it. So most of the time it's EDC, cutting packages open, opening the mail. That's really most of it. So I could use two tools in one right there. And if I ever needed self-defense, then boom, I have this here. So it is a multi-tool. It's like a Swiss Army knife, Maybe most of the time you're using the screwdriver, but if you need it, there's a saw. If you need it, there's the needle nose pliers, right? So kind of like that, So self-defense part, hopefully don't ever need it, but it's there. But most of the time, it's an EDC knife. I could view it like that, right? Now, the other example I could share with you guys is, okay, so in a self-defense situation, the bad guy is really, really angry, is very aggressive, hostile, and coming at me. They want to attack me bad, right? If I could verbally diffuse the situation, that's the best way to take care of it, where I could calm him down and then get him to change his mind and he no longer attacks me and we just walk off. That's the best, right? So at that point, that's way better than taking out my concealed handgun and putting a bullet between his eyes and killing the guy. That's the worst. I don't want to do that. So I view this the same way. The knife is like taking out the concealed handgun and killing the guy, right? Which it might be justified for self-defense, but I would rather verbally diffuse the situation if I can. So if I can diffuse the situation with a impact tool, that's much superior. It's not that I'm going weaker and making myself weaker and more vulnerable. No, I'm saying the situation, I just want to solve the problem, and I'd rather solve the problem better than the worst way possible. So that's the way that I view it. I hope that makes sense. I know a lot of people view lethal force as the most powerful, and then they view non-lethal, like an impact tool like this, as the weakest. And that's not the way that I view it. They're just tools. So it's not about destructive is better, the more powerful is better. No, it's about using the right tool for the right situation. Because if you're just thinking about destruction, bad guy comes up to me, why carry a knife? Why carry a handgun? Why not use a rocket launcher? That's more powerful. You see, so it doesn't make sense. Using more power or something more destructive or something more damaging, that logic doesn't make sense to me. It's about using the right tool for the right situation. That makes sense. So in this case, the best way to solve the situation, one of them would be verbal diffusion. But an impact tool would be much better than using a knife and making the guy bleed out, or slitting his throat or something. So that's, I'm just saying, how do you want to solve the problem? And my answer is the best way possible. What is the best way possible? And just thinking about that. So anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.